Okay, so one thing I wanted to record a video about this because you did a really nice job with what we're seeing. One little mistake you made is because this is the leading term of the numerator and the leading term of the denominator has the same power. We know that the horizontal asymptote is the ratio of the coefficients. So the HA isn't y equals 1, but it's y equals 2/3. Graphically, it doesn't look really much different, but that is a slight difference. So once we find how do you graph this stuff by hand? Um, then sure, set the denominators equal to 0, factor it, or quadratic formula. I like factoring. And we get those two vertical asymptotes. So I sketch those in. Um, the zeros, we set the numerator equal to 0, solve those, we get those zeros, and I graph those in. I sketched in the y equal 2/3. I sketched in the y-intercept, which you found correctly, which is f of 0 is -1. So I graphed that. Then I got to decide how to graph this. I know the ending behavior is y equals 2/3, but what happens here in the middle? Um, because the vertical asymptotes, both of these are just to the first power, that means the vertical asymptote is going to act like 1 over x, not like 1 over x squared. So as you approach the asymptote, they have to end up in different directions. So I started with the easy thing first. I sketched the line that goes through that 0, that point, and that 0, and knowing that it's going to end up approaching y equals 2/3, it has to come down like this. Okay. And now there's no other zeros on this side of that graph. So I was thinking, well, maybe it's this piece here is up here, but that I know it's not because this is supposed to be acting like 1 over x, not 1 over x squared. And if I had it graphing like this, see how it's approaching the same direction for both of these. So I knew that was out. So this had to be down like this and never hitting the x-axis. Now I could plot some point to figure out how high it goes, but that's more than we need to do. We know it's going to look like this. And then because this has to act like 1 over x, I know this has to be kind of as I approach 3 from the right, it has to be headed up to infinity. And as it goes out to, I know it's not going to go down across the x-axis. There's no other zeros, just those two. So that has to look like this. So this is how we can use what we know and make a sketch of what the graph looks like without using any calculator and without doing too much work. So hopefully this makes sense. I'm going to ask this of you on the next exam.